Tonight, a family's child and soil at their home testing positive for lead, who they claim cut corners on the cleanup.
A surge of hepatitis C in Maine.
Very expensive to treat.
The growing number of cases and how the state is fighting back.
We're tracking some midweek rain and snow, how that will affect your Wednesday and your Thanksgiving forecast. Details coming up in a few minutes.
Now, CBS 13 News on your side at 7.
Happening right now, an investigation is underway after a city worker is killed in York County.
And we now have some new details on that crash. CBS 13's David Singer is live in Springvale. David, that road is back open tonight.
Yeah, Greg and Jen, we are on Main Street near the intersection with Bridge Street. This reopened around 4:30. In the meantime, investigators were over here earlier in the afternoon since 1:30. The scene where the cones are at, that is where city officials say a municipal worker was hit and killed by his own municipal work truck. Sanford's fire chief had told the Portland Press Herald earlier today that the worker died after he was apparently run over by his own vehicle. That worker has not been identified. The Sanford city manager says the incident happened around 1:30. Police closed a part of Main Street earlier and put up a tent in the middle of the street here. A Sanford police officer told me earlier they are in the process of identifying the man's family. We also saw and spoke to state police. They are assisting with this investigation. We expect to learn more as well as the identity of the man later tomorrow. For now, we're live in Springvale. David Singer, CBS 13 News.
We are on your side with a possible case of illegal dumping in the town of Norway after 2-year-old Kaylin tested positive for elevated levels of lead in her blood. Her mother says they found lead in a bedroom floor and in the soil around their home. A local health agency said both had to be removed. Kaylin's mom says she watched the contractor and another man bag up the contaminated soil and then drive off with some of the bags.
And I had noticed them taking the bags, leaving for a few minutes, and then coming back. And I was just wondering, where are these bags going? You're not supposed to just go dump them on the side of the road. I mean, we could have done that, you know.
Baudet says she spotted piles of the fresh dirt on the side of the road less than a half mile from her home and called police. A Maine DEP spokesman now tells us they are investigating. He also said they had a licensed contractor remove the piles of soil from the road on Saturday. A turn to your weather now. Looks like sun is on the way for our Tuesday, and Charlie, even mild temperatures.
Yeah, you know, temperatures are cooling pretty quickly tonight, Jen. Today we topped out in the 40s to near 50. Tomorrow we're near 50 degrees once again. But it was just 2 hours ago we were in the 40s for a lot of towns. Look at Sanford, already down to 29 degrees. Lewiston's down to 30. Portland's in the 30s. Up in Augusta, you're still close to 40 degrees. Now, lows tonight will be in the 20s to near 30. We have clear skies, quiet conditions, not a whole lot going on tonight. If you like today, you're going to like tomorrow. We should be in the 40s and low 50s. Look for a mostly sunny day on Tuesday. Can't say the same, though, for Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow, we're going to start with temps in the 30s. By lunchtime, mid to upper 40s will do it. A forecast high of right around 50 degrees. Now, on Wednesday, clouds will be thickening up and some rain arrives from most areas late in the day. Some areas, particularly in the mountains, you are going to see some snowfall. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll look at the timing of that, where to expect some accumulating snow. And it may linger for part of your Thanksgiving. I'll explain in a few minutes. Guys, back to you.
A 17-year-old boy is sentenced to 28 years in prison for his role in a Litchfield woman's murder. William Smith of Massachusetts took a deal, pleaded guilty. Prosecutors say that he and 2 other teens, including the victim's own son, killed 47-year-old Kimberly Maranovas in April of 2018 after she confronted them about some missing marijuana. The state says that Smith and the victim's son, Lucas, choked the victim to the point of unconsciousness before Lucas then stabbed her in the neck. The prosecution says it is happy the victim's family will not have to sit through a trial.
We're gratified that Mr. Smith finally agreed to take responsibility for his role in the murder of Kimberly Maranovas. We wish, for the sake of the family, he had done it before challenging our attempt to have him held responsible as an adult. But even now, we're glad for the family that they won't have to endure a trial for Mr. Smith's role in the murder of Kimberly.
Maranovas' son pleaded guilty in September. He will be sentenced next month. Another Massachusetts teen who was 13 at the time of the crime also pleaded guilty. Augusta police tell CBS 13 it's still putting the investigation together after an officer-involved shooting over the weekend. This happened just before, or I should say just after midnight on Sunday morning on South Belfast Avenue. Officers responded to the home to find a man who was wanted by the Fairfield Police Department for domestic violence and animal abuse charges. Investigators say that Officer Sebastian Guptill shot 27-year-old Robert Farrington during an altercation there. He was brought to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
According to Portland city leaders, there are 32 asylum seekers still staying in city shelters that arrived last week. City officials say that they will continue to find shelter for them around the area, while also rewarding the organizations that have helped the city put together the emergency shelter at the Expo this summer. A new reimbursement program is allowing organizations who donated money or services to apply. City leaders say most of the applicants will be reimbursed.
There might be things that we feel aren't totally applicable. One of the stipulations is if you already received reimbursement through the FEMA funding, that we won't want to reimburse somebody twice for those same expenses.
City officials say they're expecting a few more families to arrive this year, but don't know when that will happen.
New at 7, it's an ambitious redevelopment plan for Portland's waterfront, and now the developer is seeking a permit. The Portland Foresight Development Company is proposing a new office building, a public plaza, other retail, residential, and restaurant space, plus redeveloping 7 other historic buildings. All of this along about 3 blocks of the former Portland Company complex near the Ocean Gateway Terminal and the base of Munjoy Hill. Tonight, the public got a chance to see this plan for the first time at a neighborhood meeting at the St. Lawrence Arts Center on Congress Street. People there had a lot of questions, including about traffic.
They have clearly are rejecting the opportunity to take advantage of the existing rail line down there to address some of the traffic impacts. The traffic analysis that's taken place there is not adequately accounting for how many cars and vehicles are going to be hitting this, coming in and out of this part of the city of Portland.
Now, tomorrow night, the Planning Board will conduct its first workshop on this multi-million-dollar project at Portland City Hall.
Coming up, cases of hepatitis C surging in the state. What officials say is to blame and the new initiative to help fight back.
Plus, a devastating diagnosis for a 9/11 first responder now living in Maine. How this hero is using his terrible news to hopefully help others.